We had a very, very tense horse. She was very vertical all the time.
Where my space is, and of course where hers is, and step through your body and breathe. So when something approaches your body, what's going to be the reaction? The horse is super sweet, really wants to do the right thing, but it's completely The decision at that moment was that the horse was then able to go home. But of course then we had the trailer loading problem that we didn't know was there. That's the kind of unwrapping or revealing of all the resistance that she has in the body. I just tried to stay very patient, and I just try to get the key parts of knowledge that the horse doesn't have in order for that horse to bring itself forward in the exercise. She's quite an athletic mare, so he showed some talent for being a good saddle bronc horse. So if she doesn't make it as a dressage horse, we can maybe take her to the rodeo. So what's important here is, of course, the approach, that she's already controlling herself on the approach. Again, I just repeat the same explanations as inside, that she's thinking about the space. Then also here getting control of the feet, and that she also approaches in a way where she has control and that the energy level is down, and the same as all the other groundwork, and just telling her where not to be. Both with her feet and the focus. So when we approach, and if she's looking left and right, oh good girl, and her focus isn't here with her feet and with the front of the ramp, she can't begin to take the first steps onto the ramp. And she's also there on the approach looking to take the energy up, so we want to make sure that she's also then in control of the energy. That if she starts to control the energy up, then I just tell her where not to be in order for her to bring the energy down. Good. That she starts to make all these good decisions. So again here the preparation. So we want her to prepare herself by getting the energy low, bringing the focus to where her feet are, and then we start to begin to get control of the feet. So again, I don't tell her where to be, I just tell her where not to be. Out here is a little bit uncomfortable, here is really comfortable. Good. And again, I just tell her where I'm going to ask the question. So here I'm asking something, here I don't ask anything. Oh. So the bits where I lose the forward, then I don't try to get the forward, I just let her feel that I'm going to ask something when she's standing still. So I don't try to drive her forward. I just say it's difficult to be standing still in this place. Well, when you take the forward step, then you get the rest. Before I can get 2 steps forward, I have to be able to get 1 step really simple, without hesitation. This is good. Backwards. Backwards again. Good. So we have the backwards. Good. It's also important when she gets on that we can come off in a controlled way. Don't be here, be there. If she makes herself crooked, I don't correct her. That's her responsibility. Oh. Oh. Now I want to stop here. So I have control of the step. And then you see a bit the anxiety that I either want to be all the way on or all the way off. And I want to be able to create the stability here. Because if she's busy here and not stable here, then she's not going to be stable in there. We want to have this stability here. So I can then choose if I want to go 1 step back or I want to go forward again. She's got to find all the ways and direction. She's got to navigate her way through. If you feed her out here, you get asked something. Here you don't get asked anything. Here you're asked something. So then I want the control from this part, backwards 1 step, and that the focus stays, backward 1 step, backwards another one. So you have the same problem now, the control. I wanted to go off and she keeps running on. We're always thinking about getting the horse on, so symptom is she doesn't want to go on. But actually the cause is she doesn't have control over herself at that moment. So I want the forward step, the same as I did when I was at the bottom of the ramp stepping onto it. I want the same forward step here. Here she gets asked something. Here she gets asked nothing. And it's not just that we want her to get in any means possible. We want her to become a professional. Oh, good girl. About how she conducts herself in the approach, in the load. So the same thing with the tools. When she gets lots of wrong answers, she's eliminating all the places that are not correct. There's one of them. So then of course she goes through all the answers she's tried before, but not once yet is she thinking about looking in, even on the approach. Oh, good girl. We came to the trailer, and then that's the kind of unwrapping or revealing of all the resistance that she has in the body, and of course maybe episodes that she'd had prior where she'd sort of very much felt that rearing up and running away was an option, that she may not have been totally comfortable about the process of loading. She didn't have the knowledge of how to control herself. this is the bit where we lose control again. Oh. So I bring her back to the point where I lose control. Yeah, here. And then I try to gain control in that situation. So I need to be able to take a forward step from here. Good. Good. Because you see here, this is where the forward doesn't work. The amount of times that she sort of got to that point where I would ask simply for the step forward, and she thought that the option then was locking up and rearing up. The amount of times that she continued to do that sort of reveals to me that it's sort of something in her that's been proven in the past to be kind of successful, or she's gotten to that level of frustration before and not found her way through it. So I sort of measure that sometimes on where a horse takes itself. I just try to stay very patient, and I just try to get the key things, the key parts of knowledge that the horse doesn't have in order for that horse to bring itself forward in the exercise, whether that be going on a trailer or leading or going to the field or picking up the feet, whatever it might be. I always look at it as a training and not a goal that we must get this horse on the trailer. Oh, so here we have to, the part where she went on and we got a little bit of control, that was our quit point. We've gone past it now. Yeah. But I just go back to the bit inside, and then she has to go back in the field. And then she actually has to stay here.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I can make her go in now and you can close up.
Yeah.
But it's of no use. It's just a continuation in the, it's like the stop smoking. It's like I take the cigarette off you and I stamp it out on the ground, and then I put you in the car with a packet in your pocket.
That'd be good.
You know, it's like,
Yeah. I get it.
it has to be. Oh, good girl. In the end, even though she went on the trailer a few times, I didn't think at that point that it was a great idea that she went home, because she had gotten to a point where she was able to get forward and to get on the trailer, but the problem wasn't really solved. She didn't know all the elements she needs to know for the next day to be able to go on smoothly, or when she was going to come back for a lesson that wouldn't go smoothly. It was also really hot in temperature here, so that's also really important that we don't cook them physically with the temperature and also mentally. And I didn't want for her to have that continuing nightmare about trailer loading, or to have that continuation of problems. I didn't want her to have to carry that for one more day, so we decided that it would be better for her then to come back and stay here overnight, and so she spent the night. So it's not necessary every time that the horse really, we think it's got to go on the trailer and you're failing if you don't get it on that day. You have to really treat it as a training, and this horse came to really go through the steps necessary to be able to get to a point where she was happy, in control of herself, had good self-management, she can be ridden and have a good and happy life. So we have to take the right kind of steps to be able to make sure that she gets there. So we hope the next sessions that goes more smoothly, and then we can upload some software about how she's going to really control and manage herself in the steps forward to be able to become a good riding horse. So we had Jada out this morning. She had her first little session again. She'd obviously slept on the exercises she did yesterday, We went through the first ground pattern and she was immediately finding the point of rest. She came into the arena a little bit in a heightened state again. She was sort of hearing the morning horses going out to the field and coming out of their stables, and then she was a little bit busy, and of course she's not totally secure yet, so the insecurities make her look for security from the other horses because she doesn't have it within herself just yet. But she was able to come to a point of relaxation really quick. The steps that I was getting in the end yesterday were there immediately from the first step, and even maybe a little bit better, even with a bit more rest, a little bit more familiar feeling in her body. It wasn't like she was searching and looking for it, but it was having the feeling that it was really there from the beginning, so that was nice. We went through the tools and she was in a position of rest. The moment I took the level of the noise up on the clappers, she was finding the rest. There was no explosion first, which we had yesterday. So she was coming to the answers really quick, which is ideal. In the groundwork, after we'd gone through what we went through yesterday, I put the rope around the belly so I could also get this tightness of the skin, not only simply on the left side and the right side, but that I could start to get the tightness of the skin all around, from the top side, the bottom side, the left side and the right side. And for a horse that has been in training for a time to be ridden, she really had no idea about how to respond in her body to the girth pressure. So this is very much a don't try this at home exercise. The description of a don't try this at home exercise is it's an exercise that you need to learn under supervision, that you learn the technique and the feel of what this is. And I also say that it's a don't try this at home exercise because even if you are feeling that you're not going to get injured, if you're releasing the pressure at the wrong moment, you're teaching the opposite of what you want. So, for instance, she will push against the rope, most likely. If she pushes against the rope, she will be humping, maybe rearing, maybe bucking. And if you release the rope at that moment, because you don't have the right technique, you will be telling her that this is the right response to this pressure. Then we ask her to go a little bit in trot, so she's just carrying the rope. And then when she gets going, I put a little bit of pressure on the rope. And then you see the running forward a little bit first. But what we want her to do at that moment, she runs forward, of course, because she has a contraction of the muscle. That means she goes up in energy. And what we want her to do is to be able to slow that energy down, and then we give the release. So the element of what do you do in your body when you feel that pressure, she didn't know. So that tells me that if the saddle has been on and she's been going around with a girth on lunging, or with a saddle on lunging, or trying to be ridden with the rider on, she'd gotten used to, or another word for being desensitized to the saddle. So through routine, through putting the saddle on and putting the girth on and going somewhere, whether she had anxiety or not, she realized she didn't die from it, and you're able to repeat the process, put the saddle on again and so forth. But she didn't really understand how to control her body with the element of pressure around her. But she's quite an athletic mare, so if she showed some talent for being a good saddle bronc horse, so if she doesn't make it as a dressage horse, we can maybe take her to the rodeo. But of course that's not the goal, and so we work with the rope to be able to teach them what the physical action should be when they feel pressure around the body. And we start in the position of the girth and we work our way down all the way to the action area in the flank. And what it's really teaching her is that through the whole body she can be soft. When you feel pressure, you have a decision and a choice. You can use your natural instinct of defense, or you can give yourself a good feeling in the body, and that's learning really to follow the pressure. So if you feel pressure in your body, don't tighten up against it. You should relax. And when you follow that pressure, you learn to yield and follow pressure really well in your body. You will always feel soft and relaxed. We had a little trailer loading session, and she came straight to the ramp and had a little look in. As soon as I gave the first aid for her to walk forward, she took the first step on the ramp, I took 1 step back, I asked for 2 steps on, and it just went very calmly and easily from there. Still at the moment I'm going to be walking with her because I want to be able to have this control of every step. Good. So there she was choosing to go out, and then I reverse it. Good. I want to be able to stop here. This is the halfway point. 1 step in. Oh. But she finds this quietness and stability in the halfway point. Oh. So. Oh. So now again looking for the stillness here. Oh, good. And then out again. And also on the way out that she's not turning and putting the head up. Good girl. I want that she can also load with the divider in the correct position. So again, just treating it like a training. The signals I give are no different with the divider in this position or whether it's across. Good, she's waiting for me. So I can choose whether I want to go forward or want to go back. Oh, good girl. 1 step. Good. 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 Yep, remember you have where your feet are. You have to think of the back legs and the front legs. Good. So this is just the next step in the training, treating it like a training. And so again, I'm not going from here directly into thinking about self-loading and closing the back. I break it down into steps that I've now taken a step by her being able to load, have control of the feet, take 1 step, 2 steps back. I'm able to stop and pause on all the steps on the way out, especially the halfway point where she gets really, oh, I want to be on or I want to lift my head and be off. She's really finding rest in that point. She's also finding rest now in the presence of the trailer. So I make this the next step, and to make it a step means I put her away. Good girl. Learning a lot. So the plan now for Jada is that tomorrow, being Wednesday, she came on Monday, that she will go home again with her owner. We will have 1 session where we have some exercises of homework to do when she goes away. The process of loading in the trailer is also something we have to cover. So when she comes back for her lessons and to continue this process of learning, she can load in the trailer and has a happy trip back and forward from here. And so we want to try to make a process where we teach her a little bit, a few steps, and then the rider is able to continue practicing those steps. When she comes back for the next lesson, we will take Jada a few more steps forward, and then we'll give a few more steps behind that of homework. And each time she comes, she will be able to go through the levels. And what's also really more powerful about that is the rider is able to then be more included in the process. So the rider also understands more of the process, and that when you want to continue through your journey with that horse, continue with the education, go to competitions the first time, the rider really understands where the horse has come from and how she has learnt the things she's needed to know to become a good riding horse. And when that journey is done together, horse and rider, you have a much better connection and a much better understanding of the process of learning and the knowledge they need to have to progress further. So these will be the steps, so look forward to the journey of this sprightly little young mare.